I'm going to guess that when Ray McKinnon signed on to play Coach Burt Cotton in the 2009 movie The Blind Side, they couldn't have guessed it would be among the top-grossing films of the year, and that his co-star, Sandra Bullock, would be nominated for an Academy Award as Best Actress. Who could have predicted that? I'm sure she didn't. Now, for a guy whose previous best-known role was probably that of Reverend H.W. Smith on the HBO series Deadwood, the success of The Blind Side can't be anything but good. Ray's already been nominated this year for a 2010 Spirit Award for his role as Lonzo in the indie That Evening Sun, opposite legendary actor Hal Holbrook. And McKinnon, by the way, also won an Oscar of his own back in 2002 for his work behind the camera. Ray, welcome to Mr. Media.
Thanks for having me. I felt like I was caught when I called in earlier, and I was like, oh my God, should I say something? I felt like that school kid, you know. It's like, I think I've gotten to school early. But
well,
yeah, it's
funny.
good to be here.
I'll explain for folks. Sometimes these interviews are done back to back, although they air separately. And I was just talking to actress Elaine Hendricks, and I picked up the line, and there was Ray waiting to go on for the next show. So that has never happened in 4 years of doing that. So that's a first.
No, it was cool. I just couldn't think of a good question to ask her, so I had to kind of out myself. So no, that's all right. That's kind of exciting, you know. We're live, and you know, it's radio, and that's a part of it.
Well, and to use a term from Deadwood, shit happens, my friend.
Yes, it does. Yes, and shit happened on Deadwood.
Yeah. Absolutely. I should tell you that John Hawkes and Anna Gunn have both been on the show and have talked about that, and I'm going to ask you about Deadwood in a little bit. But first of all, I mean, congratulations on the huge success of The Blind Side.
Well, thank you. I'm just a part, you know, just a part of the machine, and you know, a large part of the credit goes to first and foremost John Lee Hancock. It wasn't an easy movie to get made. In hindsight, it certainly would have been, but he went through a lot to get it made, and cast all these folks that he cast, particularly Sandra, and yeah, it's what an amazing ride it's been for everybody who's a part of it.
Well, did I assume too much? I mean, did you see that kind of success coming when you made the movie?
Well, I live in Little Rock, Arkansas now, and after living in Los Angeles for about 15 years, and when I read the script, you know, I did feel like, knowing a lot of the folks around here, that this was something that they would identify with and support. I mean, you know, every culture likes to see themselves occasionally reflected positively. So I'm not surprised that they came around to it. I thought it would be, you know, a success of some level, depending upon, you know, when it was released and the marketing, but certainly not to the degree that it has been, that it's resonated with people. And you know, it's the movies that I make personally. A lot of my family can't even go to see them. They're a little too subversive. So this was a film that a certain segment of my family went to see and embraced and you know, celebrated. So I'm surprised, and you know, to the degree, but not surprised that it wasn't a success, quote unquote.
It's certainly the kind of movie that sometimes does do what exactly it did. It kind of crept in there under the radar, built and built and built, rather than just having a good first weekend. I mean, it just kept growing. It's you know, when you think about the movies that are mass marketed, you know, they're primarily geared for specific kinds of audiences. You know, you have your younger audience with your Pixar kind of films. You have your teenage and 20-something group with a lot of the, and there's crossovers everywhere, but with the vampire or science fiction oriented, you know, there's not a lot of big family movies where the whole family really can go, and each one of them can identify with it on some level. So, you know, this was a movie that entire families went to see, and I know that from anecdotal
things from folks who've told me about it. They said, I went to see it, and then Mom and them came over Thanksgiving. I said, we all have to go see this movie. So it really was a family movie, and it brought family members, people who normally don't go to the theater anymore, to cinema anymore, brought them out to that experience. And my whole thing is, then maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back for something different. So it's good.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about making the movie? The kind of thing that we would not know, but that we would be fascinated to hear. Is that broad enough for you? Well,
I guess for me, who I've spent most of my career making films so indie that nobody really sees them. I mean, a true test of how indie you are is, did anybody see it? No. Oh wow, you're really indie. So I made a lot of low budget films, and I've been a part of a lot of low budget films. That Evening Sun was very much on a shoestring, and I was a producer on that, and so for me to be a part of a movie that though by Hollywood standards wasn't a huge budget, it was a pretty big budget to me. So I made sure that I spent a lot of time at craft service, and I always brought home extra from this great lunch they had. So there's that, and I guess when you go to a movie, there's a certain tone that's set, and that tone can be set by somebody not setting a tone, or by somebody by having a kind of hierarchy that you have to be politically aware of. But in this case, John Lee Hancock was the tone setter, and he's such a great guy, and a guy that treats you, no matter what station you are on the film, equally, and I think that pervaded the entire set and the entire making of the film, and I think that comes through into the film, and so that's one thing maybe folks aren't aware of when a movie's being made.
Anything? Now this was a big job for Tim McGraw, who is not exactly known for making films. Anything you can recall about his work? And
well, I guess had I known how huge he was in the music industry, I'm kind of out of the pop country loop. I would have been nicer to him and more deferential. I just thought he was Tug McGraw's son, and which was interesting unto itself. But he's a small town guy. I had seen him work in Friday Night Lights, and I saw that he had an ability and a knack for this vocation, and so I think John Lee said it best was he needed to find a human being who is an actor that was okay playing second fiddle in a lot of ways to the character that Sandra created, who was secure enough in his own self, and I think Tim brought with him that kind of security as a man, and it comes across on screen where he doesn't have to feel like he's pushing or he's comfortable in his own skin, and so is the character.
No, you really made me laugh when you said you just thought of him as Tug McGraw's son. That's the way I think of him.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's had a complicated life. Tim has, and he has a traveling weight room the size of my house, so that kind of gave me perspective of what a big star he is.
Come on, Ray, you got to believe, right?
It's like, can I pay a membership to get into your weight room, your traveling weight room?
and what about young man Quentin Aaron?
Yeah, that's just a great story. He good Lord, he's such a nice kid. He actually lost over 100 pounds before the movie started. He's a big kid anyway, So you think about all the ways that this role has impacted his life. It's impacted it in a health way, because he learned how to eat better. He's continued his exercising, and he's probably going to live longer because of that lifestyle change that was a result of this movie. And just as a young actor without a lot of experience who's thrust into this really large role of a big movie, watching how he dealt with that and how he grew from that was, the movie hinges on it, and he was able to handle it and have it in perspective, and I think regardless of how his career moves on, I think he'll do fine in life.
And finally,
he's not as screwed up in the head as I am, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He probably won't need the kind of therapy that I've had to have over the years.
Oh my God, I won't even touch that. I'm afraid to say anything.
Well, can I say it has to do with electricity?
Oh no.
Yeah. But it's only occasionally.
Speaking of electricity, let me use that. Speaking of electricity, Ray, how was working with Sandra Bullock? I mean, we read so much about she's so down to earth, she's so this, she's so that. Oh, come on, she couldn't be that nice.
Well, I never really got to know her, but I did get to know her security pretty well, and I really liked him. So, whenever I wanted to, felt like I needed to talk to him, I would just get within 30 feet of Sandra, and we would be talking. So that was interesting. She's I don't know. I don't take the business too seriously, so that kind of gives you some empowerment, and I was just curious watching her as a professional. I mean, she's a professional. She is a person who doesn't also doesn't take herself too seriously. I think she has this ability to make fun of herself, and I think in a way that's genuine, and it never was like, Diva's coming on the set, except maybe when I showed up. But that being said, she is a movie star and has been one for a long time, but what's been interesting is watching her, out of nowhere come, these critical acclaim and the awards consideration, and I think she's in some way humbled by it. She wasn't expecting it, and she's handled it with grace, and that's very cool to see. I'm really happy for her.
Well, let's change gears and talk about the other movie that you're getting a lot of attention for, and that being That Evening Sun, in which you are rather antagonistic, shall we say, towards Hal Holbrook's character.
Not without provocation, I would add. Not without some provocation from Abner Meacham, played by Mr. Holbrook, but yes.
Well, let's give people a taste of that. I've got the trailer here, so folks, close your eyes for a minute, and this is the trailer for That Evening Sun with Ray McKinnon and Hal Holbrook.
Honey.
What are you doing on my farm?
We live here. We rented this place from your son.
90-day lease option to buy.
That's
I guess
me.
This is news to you then.
We thought you was in the old folks' home over in Perry County.
I was. I ain't no more.
Said you're supposed to go back to the nursing home, but you never went. Are they after you?
No old folks home, Thurl, not a chain gang.
Dad, where are you calling from?
I want them out of my house, and I want them out today.
If you're going to stay, you ought to get up some nicer curtains.
Maybe they'll even get me a dog.
Daddy won't allow no dog. He can't stand here and bark.
Say he can't.
How about shutting up some of that racket?
Good boy.
You've been trying to start a fight with me ever since you set foot on this land.
Just claiming what's rightly mine.
At some point you got to let go, friend.
I ain't no friend of yours.
This is serious, Lonzo. Don't do something you'll regret.
try to be polite, make this easy, but you ain't gonna have that, are you?
This is my place, and will be my place till they lay me in the ground.
I see your mother in dreams.
What does she say?
She listens mostly.
He lived through the Great War and came back to his home.
This is out of control, Dad.
I never was one to let things slide.
No, sir, you never were that.
Well, you saying I'm to blame for this?
I'm saying this ain't a game. We finally got a new start.
The world keeps on changing, but he ain't never changed. Depression era in the modern age.
You'll regret this, mate.
What'd you do, Lonzo?
You want this land? You're going to have to take it.
I'm the landowner now.
I worked too hard and too long. I ain't going down without a fight.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, it's we're very proud of it. It's certainly different from The Blind Side, and what a privilege it was to work with Hal Holbrook. One of the greats and one of the last of his generation. So it was quite an experience to work with him, but also to document fictionally this story and his his career as an actor. This is his first lead role, and he's just amazing in it. So
is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
how did that happen?
He's he's been a character actor all these years, and he's come into his own. It gives us all hope. And it's a difficult role. It's a role that required a lot, both physically and emotionally, from him, and it's about an 80-year-old farmer, and there's just not a lot of people who could have even attempted that role and been right for it, and he was the man, and he continues to have the passion and the fire to do what he does so well.
Can a young guy like yourself, relatively, standing next to Hal Holbrook, can you learn from the way he, performs, the way he carries on at this point?
Oh, yeah, good Lord, I can learn from he and Mia Wasikowska. It's like you learn from the old and you learn from the young, and I guess from Hal, and Hal knows this, that for the movie to work, we both had to do our jobs and be at our best, and he wanted that for the movie and for me, and I wanted that for the movie and for him, and it was a great place to start from. But all I had to do was look into his eyes and react off of what he was doing, and I would be fine.
Now, Ray, you, speaking of which, you radiate intensity on screen. Is that ever a problem in real life, or do you have it more contained? Okay.
I don't know if I radiate. I don't know. I've been followed around malls before by security, sure. Especially when I have a long, scraggly beard and I look like Lonzo, the character in That Evening Sun. I've had my share of troubles, but I don't know. It's probably good I don't sniff glue or anything.
I would say that's probably true.
Just stick to making the model airplanes. Don't sniff the glue while you're making them.
Now, I want to play one more clip here because I want to have a little conversation about Deadwood. This is you, and I'm sorry, I'm fighting kind of a cold here. This is you in a scene from Deadwood with Timothy Oliphant and John Hawkes, who, as I mentioned, has been on the show. So, folks, give a listen to this back and talk about Deadwood.
Evening, sir. Evening, Reverend. I watched goods in the tent this this structure replaced while Messrs. Bullock and Starr first took in the camp.
You sure did. What can we do for you, Reverend?
I'm in a quandary, gentlemen. Are you Mrs. Bullock and Starr?
In the flesh.
You are the absolute images of them, gentlemen. But what makes me afraid is I do not recognize you as my friends. And naturally, I am afraid.
What are you afraid of, sir?
I don't know what's happening to me. I have various ailments, and I suppose this is a further ailment, but of what sort I don't know. And I'm afraid if you are devils, which I don't believe you are, because you are the kindest men of all in the camp to me. But if you were devils, I suppose that would be the type of shape you would take. And if you are not devils, then I am simply losing my mind, and with my other ailments, I am concerned and afraid.
All right, Reverend. We're the people you met the night you watched our goods. I'm from Etobicoke, Ontario. I'm from Vienna, Austria.
Wonderful.
You're here with friends.
Yes, I feel that now. And I have various ailments of which we all suffer.
And next morning often finds us feeling better.
Yes. In any case, part of God's plan.
May we walk you back to your tent, sir?
An evening stroll with friends. I would so enjoy that.
Let's go then.
Now, Ray, I'm prejudiced because I love that cocksucker of a show, but
yes, I think I was the only character that didn't say that particular phrase.
Was that as much fun to make for you as it still is to watch?
You know, it was like, I don't want to overstate this, but it was like food and air and water. You know, it's what you spend your life working towards and learning, you know, this craft of acting and trying to get a hold of it. And then you're given this opportunity to be a part of this world, and where the stakes are so high, they're life and death every day, and the emotionality that we were allowed to play in the range was one of the great pieces of my professional life, and especially outside of things that I've created in the indie world, and David Milch gave me that opportunity, and it was I think every actor's dream, because you show up at this place and this set, you're on a set, but it looks so real, and you're in these clothes, and everybody else is in these clothes, and there are these animals coming around, and it just really makes it easy to pretend that you're in another world of another time. And David Milch is just a huge talent and humanist in his understanding of the human condition and how to exploit that in a fictional narrative. Was you talk about sitting at the feet of the teacher. That was a great experience.
Well, I know you won the 2002 the Academy Award for I think it was short. Was it short feature for The Accountant?
Yes, it was. I'd been wanting to make films for a long time, and I thought if you just wrote a screenplay, then people would show up with money, and that didn't happen. So eventually, my wife Lisa Blunt and myself, we said, well, let's just make a short film. At least we can make something and see if we like it, and if maybe we have a knack for it or whatever, and so we went forward with that idea, and Walton Goggins, who I've known since he was 15, he was on The Shield and was going to be on the show Justified, and just a wonderful talent in himself. He came on board as an actor, and then we brought him in as a producer, and before you know it, we're making this short film, and it was a great experience, and that unto itself was worth it. And then we finished the film, and that was worth it. And then we went to these festivals, and before you know it, we were at the Academy Awards, and it was a very surreal, unbelievable experience, second only to how proud we are of the movie itself. So, yeah, I think it'll be the first and the last time that I ever will be allowed to go into Elton John's party, post-Oscar party.
You never know.
They let us in to see Sir Elton. Yeah, but yeah, so that was and as soon as we can get the award out of the pawn shop again, I'll put it back on the mantle.
Is that where it is?
It's at an undisclosed location. Yes. But we, what it allowed us to do too is to go on and make, we made 3 indie feature films. That Evening Sun being the last one, which I produced and a young writer director directed, and I love telling stories. I love being a part of stories, whether it's David Milch's or John Lee Hancock's or telling our own. So that's good times when you can get into it.
Well, we are just about out of time, and I want to make sure to tell everybody that you can watch the trailer for Ray McKinnon's newest film, That Evening Sun, with Hal Holbrook, at the website, www.thateveningsun.com. And you can order the DVDs for The Blind Side, The Accountant, his Academy Award-winning short, or the whole series of Deadwood episodes at MrMedia.com. And Ray, can folks find you do you do any of the Twitter or Facebook, any of that kind of stuff?
I'm contemplating it, but so far, no.
Excuse me.
But yes.
Fair enough.
But you can, also we have our movie Crystal and our movie Randy and the Mob are also available via DVD. And yeah, so have at it. Have at it for those of you with peculiar tastes.
Well, Ray, it's been a lot of fun to talk to you. I enjoy your work, and just want to thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
Well, it was a pleasure being here, and thank you for having me.
All right. Take care, and continued good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. And, folks, for more interviews with your favorite TV and film stars, you can surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's where you can listen to my earlier conversations with Kirk Douglas, Billy Bob Thornton, Ted Ramey, Nathan Fillion, Christian Slater, Elaine Hendricks, Alicia Cuthbert, Ali Sheedy, and many more. And please take advantage of this great offer for Mr. Media radio listeners. Go to www.audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia, that's Mr. Media, to get a free audiobook download of your choice. Choose from 75,000 when you sign up today. Again, that's www.audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia for your free audiobook. And subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Sorry. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many locations. If you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman.com. You can also follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, twitter.com/Andelman or facebook.com/Andelman. Thanks so much for joining us today. Always appreciate when you give up a little piece of your day and come spend it with us.